I'm Borley Borlstein. I'm back at you with another one. That's right. We're going over The Exorcist, which is a 1973 film by William Friedkin. If you don't know William Friedkin, he's directed two of the kinkiest movies I've ever seen. One, Cruisin', where Al Pacino goes into a gay bar and sees a man strung up by his hands and legs getting anally fisted. And two, 9.5 Weeks, which is a film where the lead actress had to be contractually compelled by the court to come back and finish the film because she was so terrified of the male lead's dom energy. So, William Friedkin, he's freaking. But The Exorcist, though, not so much. So, The Exorcist has a few running plots, and now I'm going to go over them. First, we start in the Middle East with ancient man of a priest who is doing archaeology, and he discovers something that's scary. And throughout this, there's not really a lot of dialogue, and there's an implication that he's uncovered something that is truly haunting to him. And he sees these dogs fighting, and he sees this scary kind of demon statue thing, and that's what we're left with. That's all we kind of know about ancient father man. That's it. It takes about 30 minutes. Then we cut to a new plot, which involves Ellen, who's an actress, and she's searching for answers to cure what ails her daughter, Regan, because she's having what looks like schizophrenia, but what ultimately is determined is that she is possessed by a demon. But really, she's just got a case of the Mondays. Third plot is that there is a younger priest who is introduced as having a crisis of faith. His mom dies. He's not there to be there for her. They can't put her in a better facility. So she's kind of in what looks like to be a psych ward. Like, the people there are very desperate, very terrifying, and it's not the place for somebody to live out the rest of their days as this man's this man's mom has to do. So it's a bit unfortunate. Additionally, he might be a holy father, but we're going to call him Daddy Father. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. He's packing. And then the last plot involves an investigator who's trying to understand why this movie director flung himself supposedly from Regan's window down a flight of stairs and killed himself or died by mysterious means. And he's kind of eyeing Regan as the person for whom this occurred, or who caused this, essentially. But there's one confounding variable, is the fact that the man has a twisted neck that he wouldn't have been able to do through the fall itself. So there's that issue for it. So now we need to move on to the ending. So ancient priest comes out of retirement for one last exorcism with Daddy Father in tow. And ancient father dies, and Daddy Father takes the devil into himself and leaps from the window, presumably ending the possession and sending the devil back to hell. He's not going to be able to possess anyone anymore. So, knowing that, I ask you, why is the film called The Exorcist? I've never questioned that before until I got to the end of the film. And I think it's interesting because there's two exorcists in the film. There's Ancient Father and there's Daddy Father. But the film is called Exorcist. An exorcist is a noun respecting the individual person that does or performs an exorcism. The film isn't called The Exorcism of Regan, which is what the film is ostensibly about. It's called The Exorcist. It's literally the one person who does the exorcism. And I think this is intentional by whoever fucking decided it to tell us what is the most important part of this film. There's Ancient Father, who is basically about to die. He looks like he's on death's door the moment he shows up, and he takes all this very seriously in his faith, and he tries to approach the exorcism from a faith-based way, and that is not enough, and he dies kind of because of it, because of his faith. He is overly respecting his faith in the exorcism, and that leads to his death. He was overconfident. Then we have Daddy Father, who has constantly had a crisis of faith. He wants to get out of the field, and he's basically just like a psychiatrist who works as, a father in Catholicism. And I find it interesting that he doesn't defeat the devil through the exorcism practice, he probably violates the exorcism practice because he takes the devil into himself and then leaps from the window and kills himself. And I think the implication there is that there is a different kind of strength required to make that decision that ancient father didn't have, but daddy father, he's got the right vibes. His vibes are immaculate, and he is sending shockwaves and vibrations through the womb of every woman in the house. Because that's the kind of power you need to exorcise the devil from what would be anybody, I suppose. I don't know. Has anyone ever questioned this? The fact that the movie is called The Exorcist, even though there's two people that do the exorcism, it should be called The Exorcist, right? I mean, the daddy father has never even done an exorcism before. He doesn't even believe that they occur. He thinks that they're bullshit until ancient father shows up and he's like, well, we should begin right away. You called me here. I mean, obviously I'm here because I'm here to do an exorcism. Let's get to work. That's how the movie goes. And I'm still fucking just wondering, why is it called that? I mean, I gave you an idea here. Maybe somebody else has a different idea. Maybe you got a better one. Fucking, I hope so, because I'm at a loss. So please, someone, elucidate me.